Hello and welcome to Amá CONVERSA. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing very, very well. Today we have a very special guest. We have Nicole Sanguinetti. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right. And she is an Italian American from my neck of the woods. She is from San Jose. And we connected through a mutual friend, Diane Aguiar Dutra. She is amazing. So I've known Nicole for 4 years, and Nicole is also so amazing. So I am so happy to be talking with you today. So Nicole, can you let us know a little bit about you, where you're from, and what it is that you do? Because you have these beautiful angel wings behind you. So I'm sure everyone's thinking, what does she do? So now you can calm our minds and let us know.
I love that. Calm your mind and let you know. Thank you so much for asking me to be here today. I'm so excited to chat with you. And I love hearing that. Oh my gosh, we've been in connection for 4 years. That went by so fast.
It did.
So crazy. So hi, everybody. My name is Nicole, and I am a psychic medium and intuitive healer and a soul coach. And I am really all about helping clients and helping my students tap into their own energetic gifts, into their intuition, connecting them with spirit. And and this is why you see the angel wings, I love connecting others with the energy and the support of the angels and the archangels. So I am a lot of things.
Yes.
A lot of tools on my hand.
Exactly. And how long have you been doing this? And when did you discover this gift that you have? Because typically people discover this when they're kids, they kind of get into it, but it's very hard to hone in on the energy or the messages. So it takes a lot of practice. It takes a lot of courses. I see behind you have some certificates. So can you talk about the discovery of this and how you manifested into yourself and how you educated yourself in how to do everything that you do today?
Yes, absolutely. So the first time that I ever realized that there was something a little bit different or strange about me was when I was about 10 years old. My grandmother passed away, and we were really, really close. And when she passed away, all of a sudden I started seeing her. And I was little and I wasn't sure what that was about. And I remember telling some of my family, I remember telling my mom, but then it kind of went away after that. And I started, seeing her and sensing her, but not really telling people about it because it didn't make sense to me, but it wasn't so scary because I knew her.
Yes, it was your grandma, so it wasn't scary.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Yeah. And as I got older, I started to, recognize that I was seeing other people than her that had passed on, like people that were connected to my friends or people that were connected to my family.
Shortly after, or were you still 10?
It was a little bit after. So like a few years later, like when I was a teenager, it got stronger. And I don't know if this happens to a lot of other mediums if you have the gift when you're young, but I think when you're a teenager and you go through all of those crazy hormonal changes and your energy shifts, I think that changed my gift for some reason. And when I was sensing other people or spirit, then it started to freak me out because that's the time in your life when you don't want to be weird and you don't want to be different. You want to fit in with everybody.
Yes.
And so I got really freaked out and I tried to block it off and didn't.
So it probably got stronger, right?
Yes, exactly. Ooh. So what happened was the energy around me, or like what I was sensing and feeling, became stronger. And because I wasn't paying attention to it, or I was trying to block it out, it started to create a lot of anxiety for me. And I would have panic attacks and anxiety attacks. I'd be afraid to go to school. And I was like a performer in school. Like I loved dance and musical theater. And so like before things like that, I would have major panic attacks because there would be a lot of people and I could sense and feel things from people.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was a lot. So I knew that I knew that something was happening, but I couldn't put my finger on it. And so when I got into my 20s, I just was so overwhelmed with the amount of anxiety and the panic that I was having. So I started to look for other alternatives besides counseling and therapy because those things weren't helping me. And I didn't feel safe like saying, I see people,
Yeah, it's kind of a tricky situation, right?
Exactly. Like, how do you tell people? So I ended up finding a spiritual counselor and a mentor.
How do you even find somebody like that, by the way?
Oh my gosh, actually my sister-in-law, my now sister-in-law was somebody that, you know, suffered with anxiety and stuff too. And we had talked about like, you know, I've been doing all these things and nothing has helped. If you know anyone, she's like, oh, I know this person, you have to check her out. Like that's literally what happened. And
like
I feel
like with me and Diane and you.
Yes.
Okay,
I think that's
cool.
the best way to make the connections, right? It's always between like someone else. Yes. So yeah, and I found her, and the first time I went to her, I was like, I felt safe that I could tell her. So these things happen to me, and I feel these things, and it's, I noticed I have this anxiety. And so it wasn't until I went to her and I was able to put a name and
so
a
what was
label.
going on?
Exactly. So she was like, okay, so what is happening? You're a medium. And the reason why you like have these anxiety attacks around people is because if you're sensing spirit and you don't deliver a message, it kind of gets stuck in me. Like the energy gets stuck. So I started working with her to develop my mediumship gifts and abilities. And the more that I worked on that, the more the other aspects of my spiritual gifts started to come through. Like my intuition became stronger. My psychic senses became stronger. My empathetic nature became a lot stronger. So I didn't have the intention of creating a business and doing this work for other people, but I was doing it, you know, through working with my counselor. She would bring people into sessions for me to practice with. And I saw how much it helped people.
Yes.
And that's when it shifted from being like something to be afraid of to, oh my gosh, this is a gift that can really help and support other people.
100%.
Yeah. And so it still took me some time. You know, I wasn't really comfortable coming out of the spiritual closet. So I was still kind of afraid and doing things like on the down low and like in secret. But about the end of my 20s, like closer to my 30s, I realized like, okay, I'm gonna open a practice. I'm gonna start offering services to people. So that's when I started, and that is how my business Love, Light, and Magic was born. And it is my little side hustle that
I wouldn't even call it a side hustle. Like I feel like that is amazing. Like love and light and magic, right? Literally is that. And when I discovered you, you really blew me away. Just because I have to go into this because I mean, duh, right? So let me let the listeners know about how our first reading went down, which was crazy. But first, let me comment on that's amazing that you found your mentor and that she was so great for you and that you were able to really develop your skill and your gift. And now, like I was telling you before we started recording, it's been amazing to see the level up and the progression and just everything about the evolution of Love, Light, and Magic. Like seeing you 4 years ago to now, even though 4 years, it does seem like a lot, but it's not a lot when you see the progress and the improvement and just the magnitude of what you've done in the amount of 4 years is actually crazy. It's a lot of work. It's like something that somebody would accomplish maybe in a decade, and you found out how to do it in like half of the time. So that's pretty cool. So congratulations to you for that. But let's get into the first reading we ever did, because now I've known Nicole for 4 years, and we've done, I think it's four sessions already. So we've done 4. It seems like I like to talk to you either 6 months to a year out. That's when I'm like, okay, it's Nicole time. Like
it's a tune-up time.
It's tune-up time. I need to talk to Nicole, figure out what's going on here. But no, totally. I am an intuitive person as well. So I get feelings that are strong. My husband gets so freaked out because I'll say something, literally I'll say something and it will happen, or I will talk about somebody and then they'll literally send me a message. Literally.
The best.
So that always happens, and he just like looks at me and he's like he loves me for that, but he's just like, here she goes again, here it is. But yeah, it's a thing that I have, my mom has, my grandma has. It's just maybe even my daughter has it. I think she does, because sometimes she says things like I'll be thinking something in my mind and she'll verbally say it, but I didn't say it, but she said it. So
tuned in.
Who knows? Who knows? But so the first reading was kind of funny because I'll tell you why. I, at that point, had never had a reading of any kind. Never. But I am a huge fan of Teresa Caputo, as Nicole knows. I actually saw Teresa a few months after speaking with Nicole. And so Nicole, back then, she would do her sessions with Skype. And now she does her sessions through Zoom. And she records them now and she sends them to you. So the first session I ever had was a Skype, and I literally wrote down every single thing. It was like all chicken scratch. And the next day I rewrote everything. And I was telling Nicole that we had a big move recently. So I'm going through boxes and organizing everything. And the perfect time, I found the notebook that has been missing for years. I knew I had it, but I didn't know where it was. And so I found it at the perfect time because now I'm talking with you and I wanted to show you. But I found the notebook from the notes of our first reading, and it was 18 pages long.
Oh my God.
And it's right here in this sparkly notebook. But yeah, so I reread everything last night, and most of it I had already remembered because it was just so a life-changing awakening. It was just like, this is not a professional word to use, but it was a trip. Like, it was a trip because I did not know Nicole from nowhere. We had a mutual friend. My grandmother had passed 6 months prior, and my friend Andrew had passed 6 months prior too, because they passed away very close to each other. And I was pregnant. I was like 6 months pregnant too. So there was a lot of things going on at that time. And a lot of things went even crazier after that, let me say. But anywho, so I didn't even know like what was going to happen to me after that. But I did know that Nicole told me, and I reread it last night, and I saw that in the reading, she said that amazing things were going to come and that I was going to have an amazing life. But before that point, a lot of horrible things happened. So just want to remind everyone that sometimes a lot of bad things happen, and when it rains, it pours. Mm-hmm. But hold on, because later on, you never know what life's going to give you. So anywho, so Nicole didn't know me from anywhere, and it was amazing for her to say stuff, and my mom was there, so I have a witness. It was amazing for her to say stuff that nobody would know. Nobody would know. Even some things she said, I didn't even know. So thank God my mom was there, because my mom was there to confirm, like, yeah, that's legit, that's true. So if anyone has ever been curious about a spirit medium or getting connected to the other side, to spirit, I would definitely say that Nicole is your number one person to go to. If you've ever wanted to try and it's your first time, you need to go to Nicole, because she explains everything in a very easy way to understand. So even if you're not a believer per se, if you do get a reading by Nicole, because I was a skeptic. I'm spiritual, and I do believe in Catholicism, and I'm not like super by the book, of course not, but I don't think a lot of us are. But anyway, I was open-minded to Nicole. I was open-minded, but I did have my guard up, because who wouldn't, right? Right. This is a thing that people, we've heard about this forever, and it's like, it could be 50% correct, or it can be like 50% of the time it could be somebody that's not a legit person. But Diane, my good friend, told me, hey, I know you're going through some hard time with your grandma and Andrew. You should talk to Nicole. And I was like, oh my gosh, of course, because I've always wanted to. And I was just so curious, because I'm like, this girl, she sent me your website. I'm like, this girl looks like us, like our age. Like, how does she know even like what's going on? Or so of course you just start thinking all these things, because when you think of a spirit medium or like somebody that can tell you things, you think, oh, like this wise older woman or something like that, right? In Portuguese, yes, in Portuguese we think like uma sábia, like she knows everything. And I'm like, this girl is like us. Like, what's going to happen here? So I would say don't be judgmental. I would say be very open-minded, open your heart. It's amazing to receive messages from Spirit. It's very special because it just opens your eyes to know that they're so powerful. Mm-hmm. Even though they're not physically here, it blows my mind to the how do you say, capacity of what they're able to do from wherever they are.
Right.
So it's kind of cool because I don't want to go too much into the details of my reading because we would be here for days and days. Like I said, it was 18 pages. It was supposed to be a 30-minute session. It ended up being an hour and 15 minutes. So God bless Nicole. She's so sweet. But now her services have definitely developed. There is a different flow to things. Yeah. And you can go ahead and check out her website. Can you let us know the website and let us know the kind of services that you do offer now? Because I know that the services are a little bit different than when we first started out.
Yeah. So you can find me on lovelightandmagic.com. That's my website. I'm so glad that you took notes, Marisa, because I have to tell you, like, one of the things that happens, I know for me, and I think it happens for a lot of mediums, is that when we open the channel and stuff comes through, it's never remember what happened. I never remember. Forever. Unless someone's like, oh my gosh, remember when you told me that? Then it will like spark like the visions that came up for me, because I'm a clairvoyant medium. So Spirit speaks to me through seeing messages. So I love that you wrote notes, and I'm so happy that after all these years that you still come back to it and it still holds like that relevance for you, because that's so, like, that is the magic of Spirit.
The messages in there will be important for me for a lifetime. And I've actually taken notes on every single session we've ever done. This last one I didn't need to because it was recorded. So we're all good there. But I actually have another notebook that has the other two in there. So
perfect.
I'm just a crazy note person. But anyways, yes. So lovelightandmagic.com.
Yeah. And so, yes, thank you for mentioning about like the transformation. So I noticed, and like Marisa said, like back in the day, like that was when I was first opening up to the public to hold space for sessions. And I really thought back at that time that I was only supposed to do mediumship, but it never felt totally aligned for me. And it's hard because I look back at that time, and like, speaking of people like Teresa Capito, like I look at that, I'm like, okay, so like that's what it's supposed to look like or feel like or be presented like. But every time I was in a session, this is why Marisa's probably went over, Spirit would bring through messages, but then I would realize that I was like coaching my clients and helping them through certain situations and giving them tips and tools on how they could do things.
Yes.
On how they could improve in certain areas, on how they could heal certain things in their life. And the more that I, took on clients, I realized, oh,
I'm a soul coach. Yeah.
I am a soul coach. And I really started to use my gift of mediumship to bring through Spirit, whatever Spirit needed to come through for that client. To like, normally what happens with me when I connect with Spirit, it's usually messages of, this is a disclaimer that I think is important that not a lot of us recognize when we're watching, like, for example, mediums on TV or listening to a medium on the radio. We think that someone comes to sit down and they get to pick and choose who's going to be there for them. And oftentimes
you never know. You never know.
And oftentimes that's what leaves people feeling disappointed or defeated because they didn't get what they wanted. Yeah. But what I think is so important in my work and what I love to teach and show my clients is that Spirit brings you exactly what you need in the moment in your life. Exactly. Yes. And if you can be open, right, to just receive whatever you need to receive, it's going to be life-changing. And 100%. So because it didn't look like that for me, like it didn't look like it does on TV.
No, not at all.
And I was like, okay, I really want to teach people. I love to help people learn how to do things, especially when it comes to like doing things with your spiritual gifts. If you're an empath, how to use your empathic gifts. If you're curious about working with angels or crystals, I love to teach people. So I started holding like classes on the weekends, like online. And then it just kind of blew up from there. And then I realized like, oh my gosh, I should just start creating digital classes or courses or ebooks because people really want to learn these things.
Yes.
And they want to learn.
I do too.
That's relatable, And so I started doing that. And then I was like, leaning into the soul coaching, because I was getting more and more clients, like honest to God, when you are open and you let yourself just be guided by your higher power,
yes,
whatever you want to call that, and just be open to what the universe is bringing you. I noticed I was getting more people that needed help with a certain
yes.
issue,
Oh my gosh.
or needed
100%.
help with guidance on how to be more confident, or how to love themselves, or step into their true gifts. And I realized, oh my gosh, I have to just make this a service. So the last year, I really started opening up for soul coaching and mentorship, because I really want to help people learn to honor their gifts and their abilities, you know, whether that's intuition, whether that's your own psychic gifts, whether that's mediumship, or just really wanting to learn how to connect with your own soul and your own spirit, so that you can live a life that's in alignment with what is in your highest and greatest good. So yeah, definitely has been a crazy evolution.
Yes. And that's actually something, Nicole, that we talk about on Amá CONVERSA all the time. We talk about universe alignment and being guided by that. It is actual real thing. Because I've definitely been experiencing that. Things just fall into place when you identify what it is, your purpose. So when you live your life with intent and purpose, like we always say on Amá CONVERSA, it just seems like the universe throws things at you, and then it's up to you to align them perfectly and utilize them. So I would have to agree with that. So after talking with Nicole plenty of times, this started to resonate more and more with me. And it wasn't until a few years ago that this was so funny. It was actually my hairdresser that I like to say that my hairdresser changed my life. So Jose, if you're watching this, you changed my life, because when I met him, I was just like in a black cloud, I would like to say. It was just a gloomy time. And when I met him, I told him, you know what, I thought I was so clever. You know what my New Year's resolution is? He's like, what? This was like 2019, I think, or 18 or something like that. And he goes, what was it? Or what is it? And I'm like, I'm going to treat everyone just like they treat me, not better or nothing like that. If they treat me bad, I'm going to treat them bad. And then he told me, that is a horrible idea. And I was like, how is that a horrible idea? It's not a horrible idea because I'm not going to waste my energy on people that don't waste their energy for me. He's like, no, that's completely wrong. So I had been doing that, and all horrible things were happening to me.
Yes, your
horrible things were happening to me. And I was pissed off all the time. Horrible time. So when me and him had a talk, and he basically was like, what you need to do is, whenever you feel that way, you just need to pray for that person. You don't treat them bad like they're treating you. You don't do that. You treat them better. You give them a little gift. You make them feel better. I don't know. He just basically told me, just pray for them. Something simple like that. Just pray for them. And I started to do that. My whole life changed.
Yes.
My whole life changed.
The energy you're putting out, it's totally different. It's a different frequency. Yes.
So I would have to agree with Nicole that the way she coaches somebody really helps you out. The other day I catched one of your lives on your Instagram, and if anyone watching, please catch Nicole on her Instagram. Can you let us know your Instagram name, please?
Yeah, so it's Nicole_Sanguinetti. I can give it to you for your show notes. That might help people.
I will definitely post it when your episode airs. I will post the information for your IG, because I feel like your IG definitely needs more love and attention, because it's so amazing. You do so much for so many people. Very inspirational, very helpful. Like after you watch Nicole, or after she coaches you, or after you talk with her, you feel elated. You feel like you're lighter. You feel maybe even some burdens off your shoulder, or you feel like, okay, now we can take on this issue or this problem or this project. Now I have confidence, or now I'm in the right direction, or whatever it may be. I think that Nicole is definitely worth checking out. She's amazing. And Nicole, I'm going to have to talk with you very soon, because it's getting to that point that we're almost at our 6 months mark, I think. The last time we spoke was November.
Yeah.
So December, January, February, March.
It's in fall, yeah.
Oh yeah, we are due. Okay,
Coming
cool. Okay, cool. So I'll get on your calendar for probably next month or so. And like I said, Nicole to me is kind of like my counselor. And so I go to her when I just need a refresh. That was like the perfect thing you said. It was a refresh. It kind of feels like you press a button on your back and you literally restart yourself. Like you literally rebooted yourself. So Nicole, thank you again so much for being on Amá CONVERSA. I am so blessed to know you. And because of you, I am also a very much so better person. At least I would like to think and say. Because of you and Jose, you guys have definitely changed my mindset. And after I changed my mindset, everything started to happen great. So if anyone is listening to this, see the glass half full and not half empty. And let me say, you'll get more gin and tonic in that cup sooner than later. Is there anything else you would love to say to the listeners of Amá CONVERSA, Nicole?
First of all, thank you so much for all of your kind words. I'm trying not to cry, but my face hurts.
Don't do it, because I might cry, and I cried recently on Amá CONVERSA, so no.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much.
Thank you.
If there's one thing that I can share that I really hope helps everyone, it's just the biggest thing for you as an individual is just be tuned in to what you're feeling and where you feel called to go. Yes. And even if things don't feel like they make sense or it feels like it's impossible, it's not our job to worry about how we're going to do something or how we're going to step into something or create something or heal something. Just the fact that you're tuning in and following where you're being called to go is everything. Yeah. So listen to your heart. Don't question your intuition. Just tune in and trust yourself and allow yourself to start taking steps forward, following what you received. And it's just like Marisa said, it's like as soon as I change my perspective or what I'm thinking about or how I'm feeling, and when you are paying attention to the energy,
yes, very sensitive to energy, yes,
it really will change your life. And it's all about what we choose to see. And we can choose to see the good or we can choose to see the negative. Mm-hmm. We can look at the things that happen and think that they're happening to us, or we can look at them and realize that they're happening for us to help us to heal, to help us to wake up and to grow. So tune into your heart. Don't question yourself and just start listening to where you're called to go.
Yes. Oh my gosh. That is such a beautiful message. I do agree. I do agree. So thank you again, Nicole, for being on Amá CONVERSA. This was such a treat today. I will definitely let everybody know where that they can find you. Today, we talked about your website, lovelightandmagic.com. And we also talked about your Instagram. And I'll be sure to make sure that everybody has those links and information so they can follow you and know where to find you and know where to find your services. So thank you again so much. Big virtual hug.
Yes, exactly.
And we'll be speaking very, very soon. Thank you so much. Have a good rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you.